If we want to have a place to show in this town, we're going to have to make it.
We were working with 3 or 4 other artists from Toronto, Scott, Eugene, myself, and Tony Arnold. And we wanted to bring Chicago artists into Toronto and bring our own work down into the ARC gallery in Chicago. And we got a number from the side of the Darling building. We called it, and we got an appointment to see, at the time, the landlord, who I'll say his name in a minute. We are waiting in the reception area, and there's 2 Klaus Oldenburg sketches. And they had busted glass on them.
All against the wall is all these American prints.
There's
a huge collection of American pop art.
We walk into this boardroom table, and it's Mort Rapp. I don't know you guys. Who are you? You say you're artists. I gotta check you out. We said, we don't know you. He's got wings named after him at Angel. His wife and his daughter are heavily involved in the arts. They're wonderful folks.
Mort said, I can't just give you the space. There has to be some money involved. So we go, how much? He says, $2,500. So we go, thank you very much for your time.
We both stood up at the same time.
And he goes, sit down. So you sit down. He says, how much you got? I said, $500.
The first show we did was the Toronto-Chicago Exchange Project. 3,000 square feet of space in the Darling building, which was a building mostly at the time filled with dress apparel manufacturers.
We discovered that we could do it, and we could do it with the power of a group. We would all have a stake in the show, which was a much different idea than, well, if we can get a grant, we'll do the show next year. We would choose the date, and then we would figure out what kind of budget do we need, divide that up. We would fundraise by creating a catalog and then selling ads in the catalog.
And each artist contributed a page, so we had a set amount of pages of original works, and we sold those as fundraisers.
We would do silent auctions, so everyone would produce little works and we would package works. And beyond that, we had a few beer sales. Circa 96 show was at Adelaide and Bathurst, and it's in a building that's owned by a fellow named Elliot Title. And Elliot, he was afraid that we were going to trash his building, so he needed to have a security deposit. We're short on cash. So we hauled in a bunch of paintings and put them in his office as ransom that he would get his space back.
Yeah. We were great friends with Blur and Breeze and Tylee. So let's share what everybody's doing in the studio in 1996, bring it into a warehouse space, which for these guys who are in some of the big institutions, bringing them back onto the street was fabulous.
We were selling beer at the opening, and we had the liquor license and everything, but it was a big party, and there's no doubt we were going to make some noise. Where are these people coming from? They just appeared and became like an event in the city. Each time, we wanted to reinvent ourselves, reinvent what we were doing. So even though we had a small number of people that we carried over from show to show, we didn't at all think of ourselves as a collective. We were thinking about making exhibitions. And some cases, we had to do a tremendous amount of work on the space. For instance, when we did Big Show in what used to be a pool hall on College Street near Dufferin, it was 10,000 square feet of emptiness. We built interior walls and transformed the space into something that looked a little bit more dynamic.
For the opening, there was no washrooms, no water. We had to...
We had porta potties outside.
We had to have porta potties. We had them, but we looked after, all of those needs, and the show was a great success. Again, one of those shows that erupts within a community, and you have people coming in normally that wouldn't have a neighborhood gallery that would spend quite a bit of time in the afternoon talking to the artists that were sitting the show about what's happening in here. Can it stay a gallery space? What we were trying to do is knock at the doors of our public institutions and say, we have money we can offer the institution, we have a show ready to go, we have a catalog, and we have current work, we have a vision of the show.
Is it possible to have a public institution deal with work that's organized from the artists involved and not organized by curators?
This is still the challenge, is to say our visions should be as viable as curators. We need to bring in other ideas as well to allow another conversation to be going on within these institutions. There's no textbook on this, and there were tense moments and there were some wonderful moments, but in the end, all of it was worth it.